No, sir, I don't think I have any talents or special abilities, even the contrary, because I'm a sick man and have had no regular education. As for daily bread, it seems to me. The general interrupted again, and again began to ask questions. The prince told him once more all that has already been told. It turned out that the general had heard of the late Pavlishchev and had even known him personally. Why Pavlishchev had concerned himself with his upbringing, the prince himself was unable to explain. However, it might simply have been out of old friendship for his late father. The prince, at his parents' death, was left still a little child. All his life he lived and grew up in the country, since his health also called for village air. Pavlishchev entrusted him to some old lady landowners, his relations. First a governess was hired for him, then a tutor. He said, however, that though he remembered everything, he was hardly capable of giving a satisfactory account of it, because he had been unaware of many things. The frequent attacks of his illness had made almost an idiot of him. The prince actually said idiot. He told, finally, how one day in Berlin, Pavlishchev met Professor Schneider, a Swiss, who studied precisely such illnesses, had an institution in Switzerland, in Canton Valais, used his own method of treatment by cold water and gymnastics, treated idiotism, insanity, also provided education, and generally attended to spiritual development. That Pavlishchev had sent him to Schneider in Switzerland about 5 years ago, and had died himself 2 years ago, suddenly, without making any arrangements, that Schneider had kept him and gone on with his treatment for another 2 years, that he had not cured him but had helped him very much, and that, finally, by his own wish and owing to a certain new circumstance, he had now sent him to Russia. The general was very surprised. And you have no one in Russia? Decidedly no one? He asked. No one right now, but I hope. Besides, I received a letter. At least, the general interrupted, not hearing about the letter. You have some sort of education, and your illness won't hinder you from occupying, for example, some undemanding post in some branch of the service? Oh, certainly not. And concerning a post, I'd even like that very much, because I want to see for myself what I'm able to do. I studied constantly for 4 years, though not quite in a regular way but by a special system, and I also managed to read a great many Russian books. Russian books? So you're literate and can write without mistakes? Oh, indeed I can. Splendid, sir. And your handwriting? My handwriting is excellent. That's perhaps where my talent lies. I'm a real calligrapher. Let me write something for you now as a sample, the prince said warmly. Kindly do. And there's even a need for it, and I like this readiness of yours, Prince, you're really very nice. You have such fine handwriting accessories, and so many pencils, pens, such fine, thick paper, and it's such a fine office you have. I know that landscape, it's a view of Switzerland. I'm sure the artist painted it from nature, and I'm sure I've seen that spot, it's in Canton Uri. Quite possible, though I bought it here. Ganya, give the prince some paper, here are pens and paper, sit at this table, please. What's that? The general turned to Ganya, who meanwhile had taken a large format photographic portrait from his portfolio and handed it to him. Bah! Nastasia Philippovna. She sent it to you herself, she herself? He asked Ganya with animation and great curiosity. She gave it to me just now, when I came to wish her a happy birthday. I've been asking for a long time. I don't know, I'm not sure it's not a hint on her part about my coming empty-handed, without a present, on such a day, Ganya added, smiling unpleasantly. Ah, no, the general interrupted with conviction, and really, what a turn of mind you've got. She wouldn't go hinting, and she's completely unmercenary. And besides, what kind of presents can you give? It's a matter of thousands here. Your portrait, maybe? And say, incidentally, has she asked you for your portrait yet? No, she hasn't. And maybe she never will. You remember about this evening, of course, Ivan Fyodorovitch? You're among those specially invited. I remember, of course, and I'll be there. What else? It's her birthday, she's 25. You know, Ganya, so be it, I'm going to reveal something to you, prepare yourself. She promised Afanasy Ivanovitch and me that this evening at her place she will say the final word, whether it's to be or not to be. So now you know. Ganya suddenly became so confused that he even turned slightly pale. Did she say it for certain? He asked, and his voice seemed to quaver. She gave her word 2 days ago. We both badgered her so much that we forced her into it. Only she asked us not to tell you meanwhile. The general peered intently at Ganya, he evidently did not like Ganya's confusion. Remember, Ivan Fyodorovitch, Ganya said anxiously and hesitantly, she gave me complete freedom of decision until she decides the matter herself, and even then what I say is still up to me. So maybe you, the general suddenly became alarmed. Never mind me. Good heavens, what are you trying to do to us?